There is a big breaking news coming in from the Supreme Court on the Rafale. Hearing the Rafale judgment is being read out in the Supreme Court. The Chief Justice of India has started and said we have to consider the scope of judicial review in this. So this is another big story that we are tracking this morning. The Supreme Court is all set to pronounce the judgment on whether there is a need for a probe in the Rafale deal or not. This is going to, remember, have far-reaching ramification as far as the 2019 elections and both the BJP and the Congress is concerned. One of these parties, with whatever the judgment is going to claim victory as far as the judgment goes. Now, the CJI has started reading the judgment there. The CJI has said that we have to consider the scope of judicial review. So this is big, judgment which is being read there in the Supreme Court as we speak. Now, the CJI has also said no read on to doubt the process. There is no reason, in fact, to doubt the process followed in the Rafale deal. Okay, let me go across to my colleague Polumi Saha, who is joining me for more on this story. This is very significant, Polumi, what the Chief Justice of India has said. He has said that there is no reason to doubt the process as far as Rafale is concerned. He also said that we have to consider the judicial scope of judicial review. This is going to have larger ramifications, Polumi, on the politics of this country.
Absolutely. For now, it appears that whatever the CJI is observing in this matter, the final verdict is yet to be read out. But he is observing in favor of the government. Some of the snippets that are coming outside of courtroom number 1 in the Supreme Court of India, which my colleague Anisha is bringing to us, Ankit. It basically says the CJI is, of course, speaking, CJI Ranjan Gogoi. He said that we have to consider the scope of the judicial review, the extent of judicial review in matters of contract, with very pertinently points out that there are 3 broad areas of concern: pricing, process and offset partner. And we've studied the material extensively. We're satisfied that there is no occasion to doubt the process. Now, this refers to how Prime Minister Modi announced that this agreement has been struck with France way back in 2015. Only almost a year before the contract was actually signed in September 2016, and this was doubted by those petitioners, some of those including former Finance Minister Yashwant Sinha, Arun Shourie, and senior advocate Prashant Bhushan, who said that how did the Prime Minister go ahead and announce this deal without having consulted the Cabinet Committee on Security? Was due process followed? The Supreme Court is saying that we have no reason to believe that there was any sort of jumping of process. We are satisfied that the process was followed. He also says that joint exercises have taken place and there is an element of financial benefit. Merely conjecturing that the earlier RPA was more beneficial is of no use, which is to say that to conjecture that the earlier agreement, the earlier deal struck by the previous UPA regime for 126 Rafale aircrafts was more beneficial as opposed to the current deal which has been struck by the present Narendra Modi regime is, you cannot conjecture that. It's very difficult to reach that conclusion. Remember, the pricing details have not been made public by the Government of India because the government has cited national security reasons and said that it will not disclose those details. It has not disclosed those details to the Parliament of India, and hence it has chosen not to disclose those details in public as well, though it did give all of it in a sealed envelope to the Supreme Court of India. So the Supreme Court of India is privy to those pricing details and how the cost of a Rafale aircraft was arrived at. What the Congress has been alleging is that currently the aircraft has been bought, one aircraft has been bought for close to 1,600 crores by the current regime, and they were striking a deal which was almost half that price, which was about 520 crore odd, which is what was the cost of one Rafale aircraft at the time that they were striking a 126 aircraft deal. The 36 aircraft deal is much lesser in terms of the number of aircrafts that will come to India and much costlier in terms of the price of per aircraft, is what the Congress has been alleging. On offsets, very interestingly, Ankit, on pricing, we'd stick with pricing right now. What the court is saying and what the CJI is saying is that we have examined closely the price details and the IGA, which is the Intergovernmental Agreement, and the earlier contract. The petitioner says there is a price advantage. It is not the job of the court to look into pricing, as the material is to be kept confidential. So the court is very clear, we're not going to get into the nitty-gritties of pricing. That is for those who are striking the agreement and contract to look into. We're not in a way, capable of to go into the details of it, simply because of the process that these are very confidential and sensitive details. It, in a sense, as the government has been pointing out, will expose the nature of the deal, which is...
Poulami, while the Supreme Court says that there is no need for a probe into the pricing of the Rafale jet, with this, in fact, coming in from the Supreme Court, this is going to be politically a big boost for the BJP ahead of the winter, in fact, in the ongoing winter session. And, of course, in the 2019 election, this was a full attempt by the Congress party, which was trying to make it the Bofors for the BJP.
Absolutely, a huge boost coming in for the government of India as far as these details that are emerging from the court are concerned, because the Congress has been trying to put the center on the mat as far as the Rafale deal is concerned, alleging that there has been corruption, alleging that there has been crony capitalism, that certain individuals and certain companies have been favored in this agreement, and only in order to accommodate them into the agreement, this intergovernmental agreement, has the price of the Rafale jet gone up. So that is what the allegation has been. Even today, as we speak, the Congress has given notice in the Lok Sabha, as they've been giving since the start of this winter session. They've given a notice in the Lok Sabha to order a joint parliamentary probe into the Rafale contract. Now, with this verdict, you can just imagine the scenes inside Parliament, because now the government is going to be absolutely emboldened that if the Supreme Court of India, you approach the highest apex body in this country, you approach the court, you approach the judiciary, and if the judiciary believes that pricing details have to be kept confidential, that the due process of negotiation has been followed, then how can you demand a JPC? The government has not been, has been very clear. It's not going to allow for a JPC. It has been discussed in the Business Advisory Committee meeting. One of the demands which has been put forward by the Congress, the Business Advisory Council basically decides what can they have a short duration discussion on, what can they have, various discussions on during a particular week in Parliament. In the BAC that happened for the Rajya Sabha, at least I can speak of, the government is very clear. We will not allow for any sort of probe, JPC probe in the Rafale deal, and today's verdict from the Supreme Court is in fact going to be extremely crucial. What we're learning right now, Ankit, is that the Supreme Court has dismissed the Rafale PILs, has dismissed summarily and en masse all the Rafale PILs. On the offset issue, the Supreme Court has said it is not appropriate or feasible for the court to look into the contract. Mere press interviews cannot form the basis of judicial review, especially when there is a categorical denial by the government. The DPP allows the manufacturer to choose. In this case, Dassault Aviation has chosen Reliance Defence. Perception of individuals cannot be the basis of a roving inquiry by the court. So your perception that Anil Ambani is being favoured as part of a quid pro quo, as part of some sort of crony capitalism deal, as a result he's being pushed into this deal. He is not equipped enough to manufacture aircraft parts. That is your perception. You're not being able to prove it, and that is not a basis for us to institute a roving inquiry into this entire contract. The Supreme Court has
Poulami, stay on with me. Let me go across.
Thanks for watching the video. For more such news and updates, please like, share and subscribe to India Today. Also check out our other great videos from our channel. We know you will love to.